Welcome to another episode of Preferred Walk-On. I'm your host, Max Chadwick. So we're done talking about the 2023/2024 NFL Draft for now. Now I want to do a series of videos where I rank the top 10 players at every single position in college football. I did a series of articles already doing this at pff.com, so go check it out if you haven't already. But what better way to start this series than with the top 10 quarterbacks in college football heading into next season. So let's kick it off with the number 10 quarterback in the country heading into 2023, and that is Michael Pratt, the quarterback from Tulane. He and Tulane had one of the greatest turnarounds, if not the greatest turnaround, in college football history this past season. They went 2-10 in 2021. Then they went 12-2 and won the Cotton Bowl over USC this past season. It was Tulane's first New Year's Six bowl victory since 1934, back when the program was in the SEC. So Michael Pratt returns to Tulane as their starting quarterback. He had an 89.3 PFF grade in 2022, which was a top 5 mark among all Group of 5 quarterbacks. He also recorded a turnover-worthy play rate on just 1.7% of his dropbacks, the second lowest among Group of 5 quarterbacks. So right now, Michael Pratt, I believe, is the best Group of 5 quarterback in college football heading into next season. At number 9 is an SEC quarterback, KJ Jefferson, the quarterback from Arkansas. He's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country, in my opinion. Over the past 2 seasons, he has a 91.4 PFF grade, which is tied for 4th among all returning quarterbacks in the country. He's rushed for over 1,221 yards after contact in that span, the second most among all quarterbacks in the country. He also has really improved as a passer as well, which has really not been his strongest suit. He's always been more of a threat as a runner than he has been as a passer, but this past season, he improved as a passer. He finished the 2022 season with an 86.5 passing grade, tied for 9th in the Power 5, and was 7 points higher than what he posted in 2021. I want to see his continued growth as a passer in that Arkansas offense. It doesn't really ask him to do that much, honestly, but I still think he is a top 10 quarterback in college football heading into next season. At number 8 is J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback from Michigan. He obviously took the job from Cade McNamara in the second game of the season. Didn't really look back from there. He took Michigan to their second straight Big Ten championship and second straight college football playoff berth. He thrives outside of the original play design, a lot like a guy that we're going to talk about a little bit later. He had 5 passing touchdowns outside of structure, which were tied with Drake Maye and only trailed Caleb Williams and Bryce Young among Power 5 quarterbacks. Now, the issue with J.J. McCarthy, he's got all the talent in the world, one of the highest rated quarterback recruits coming out of his class. The issue is been kind of a roller coaster so far in his career. So, he's got to improve in that aspect. Got to be more consistent as a quarterback. But if he hits the ceiling and if he's consistent, he could be a lot higher than number 8 on his list. I think the perfect example to talk about J.J. McCarthy and how much of a roller coaster he is that TCU game in the playoff where he threw not 1, but 2 pick sixes. And I would still say J.J. McCarthy had a pretty good game in that game. That's how much of a roller coaster J.J. McCarthy is. He tossed 2 pick sixes and still had a decent game, honestly. He's got to get more consistent. Got all the talent in the world to be a lot higher on this list. Is a Heisman candidate with how good Michigan should be next season. But I think 8 here is safe for him. At number 7 is a transfer on this list, and that is Sam Hartman, going from Wake Forest to Notre Dame now. He was the biggest prize of the transfer portal this offseason, I believe. He eventually obviously went to Notre Dame, and he's the most valuable Power 5 player over the past 2 seasons, according to PFF's wins above average metric, which if you follow baseball, or really a lot of sports have this as well, is basically like WAR. Think about it like that. Wins above replacement. That's what it is. And Sam Hartman is the most valuable Power 5 player in PFF's wins above average stat over the past 2 seasons. His 92.5 grade over those last 2 seasons trails only Bryce Young among Power 5 quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting, though, with Sam Hartman because he played in a slow mesh system at Wake Forest that allowed him to thrive, really. Now he goes into more of a pro-style offense at Notre Dame. It'll be interesting to see how he fares in that pro-style offense. But if he does really well, he could make himself some money when the NFL draft comes around. At number 6 is a guy who we actually have coming on as an interview later on. And that is Jayden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU, transferred to LSU this past season from Arizona State. He led all quarterbacks in the country this past season with a 0.6% turnover-worthy play rate. So on 0.6% of his dropbacks, he committed a turnover-worthy play. That was the lowest in the country among all quarterbacks. He was also the only quarterback in the country who rushed for more than 1,000 yards. Overall, only Drake Maye and Caleb Williams were more valuable Power 5 quarterbacks than Jayden Daniels this past season. The issue with Jayden Daniels is that, yes, he's not going to commit that many turnover-worthy plays, and yes, he is an incredible rushing threat. As a passer, though, you're not going to be taking as many deep shots. He doesn't have a great arm, so there are limits to him as a passer, but he's not going to screw up as a passer, and he adds a lot as a runner as well. So I think number 6 here is safe for him. At number 5 is another guy who transferred from a school after having a so-so career and then really got revitalized in a new environment, and that is Bo Nix, the quarterback from Oregon. He really enjoyed a career resurgence in 2022. He had a 69.7% adjusted completion percentage, which basically is your completion percentage plus any drops that your receiver had as well. So that was his adjusted completion rate over the first 3 years at Auburn. That was only 108th among FBS quarterbacks. This past season, he had an 82.3% adjusted completion percentage, which led the Power 5 and was second in the nation in that regard. So Bo Nix coming in at number 5, another Pac-12 quarterback who transferred into the Pac-12 at number 4 in Michael Penix Jr. from Washington, who led the Power 5 last year with 4,641 passing yards. He had a 1.3% turnover-worthy play rate, which ranked 5th lowest in the country. He led Washington to an 11-2 record, their best year since they made the college football playoff in 2016. He's a top Heisman contender next year. He's got an excellent receiving core coming back, probably the second best receiving duo in college football, I would say, in Rome Odunze and Jalen McMillan, only behind, of course, the Ohio State duo and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. But Penix should be putting up big numbers next year and could be QB3 in what's a wide-open race for that QB3 in the 2024 NFL Draft. At number 3 is an interview that we just posted on this channel. That is Jordan Travis, the quarterback from Florida State, who was actually the Power 5's highest graded quarterback this past season. His 91.7 grade ranked 3rd among all quarterbacks in the country. Also, he was the only quarterback in the country who was top 15 in both big-time throw rate and turnover-worthy play rate. So we mentioned before how Jayden Daniels really excelled in the turnover-worthy play rate department, but not really in the big-time throw. Jordan Travis is making really amazing throws for Florida State, while also not really taking that many turnover-worthy plays and taking the correct amount of risks, honestly, was Jordan Travis. So I think he's a superstar. If you had to ask me right now who's winning the Heisman Trophy, I would say Jordan Travis, because I think he's going to be that good again next year. And I think Florida State is going to make the college football playoff next year. We'll get into my predictions in a later video, but I love what Florida State has in store for next season. So he comes in at number 3. Check out the Jordan Travis video if you haven't already. Number 2, another ACC quarterback. Shouldn't be a surprise here. Drake Maye, the North Carolina quarterback who is right now fighting Caleb Williams for that QB1 role in the 2024 NFL Draft. He's also fighting Caleb Williams right now for the QB1 role in the 2023 college football season. He was the most valuable player this past season according to PFF's wins above average stat. He also had 45 big-time throws, which were 10 more than the next closest quarterback in the country. He also was 3rd in the country with nearly 900 rushing yards this past season. Now, when we get to the next guy on this list, he's different from him in that Drake Maye is a really good pocket passer, while the next guy excels outside of structure. But still, Drake Maye is not a statue, okay, because he ran for 900 yards, like I said. So Drake Maye, number 2 on this list, and of course number 1 is the easy one here. Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback. Another interview that we had on the show, so go check out the interview if you haven't already. He became Lincoln Riley's 3rd quarterback in the last 6 years to win the Heisman Trophy, joining Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Think about it. The last 6 years, half of the Heisman Trophy winners have been Lincoln Riley quarterbacks, and Caleb Williams joins that list. He's going to try to join them also in becoming Lincoln Riley's third number 1 overall pick in the last 6 years as well. He excels outside of the original play design. He led the nation in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and big-time throws outside of structure this past season. He's the early favorite to be the first overall pick in next year's draft, and also he is right now the betting favorite to repeat as the Heisman Trophy winner, which only one player has done before, and that is Archie Griffin, the great Ohio State running back, did back in the 70s. So Caleb Williams, the best quarterback in college football, in my opinion, and that's what we got for the top 10 quarterbacks in college football. Let me know down below where you disagree with me, because I'm sure you do. So let me know in the comments down below where you think I went wrong, what your rankings would be. And yeah, that's what we got for the top 10 quarterbacks in college football. So follow me on Twitter at @Chad_Maxwick. Of course, hit that subscribe button too. We got some major, big-time interviews coming very soon. And that's what we got. So I'll see you guys later.